What is your definition of creativity?
I think it's basically being who you are.
Okay.
And everybody, I think, is creative.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you are the janitor in a warehouse
Mm-hmm.
or some successful artist, or it doesn't really matter. You have creativity in you.
Yep.
So I feel as though everybody's creative, and it's being yourself, it's being who you are, and being able to express that
Mm-hmm.
is the main bulk of it. Being able to express your creativity. And there's people who say, well, I'm not creative, I can't do that, or I can't be creative, you're the creative person, you do that, but I feel it's like everybody's creative and everybody can be creative, and creativity is definitely a process too, where once you start feeding it, it grows. It gets to be more and more, and you want more. You want to do more. You want to be more. You want to see more. It's like you plant the seed and say, okay, I'm going to be creative about this or that or the other thing,
Mm-hmm.
and before you know it, it just grows into this giant thing and continues. And that's what I like about it, because there's no boundaries in being creative. There's no limits. It's infinite. It just goes on. And that's basically.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a creative person? Now, obviously, you said everybody has the capability of being creative. Do you consider yourself?
No. No, I kidding.
Well, that's an indicative of. Thank you very much.
No, I definitely feel like a very creative person, and I also feel that in knowing that I am and using my creativity, I help others to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's what I like about it, because I get more joy in watching other people wanting to be creative over what something I did
Mm-hmm.
than what I did.
Yep. Now, you own the place we're in right now, the Porcello Gallery, and you and I have talked about how ourselves, as well as other people, find there's something about this building and something about this place and something about your art and other people's art is all around this place. We find that this place gives us that sort of inspiration, that sort of creativity. So I agree with you. I think that is one way in which you're helping other people, is the fact that you have this place, or whether it's this place, whether it's your work is somewhere else.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm not necessarily meaning it has to be this place, but
Right.
the fact that it's somewhere else, people find inspiration from that, from your creativity, and that can be
Definitely.
true for anybody who's creative. So, okay. Tell me about the creative work that you do. So, in other words, you're a painter. You're obviously also a musician. You play piano and you play guitar. You play a little bit of the drums there, the djembe drums. But tell me a little bit about your creative work, and what you do with your creativity.
Yeah, I feel I'm constant in the process of being creative.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a constant thing. My mind is always thinking of something
Mm-hmm.
to be creative. If I'm in a mood to be creative, it just flows, it just happens. But sometimes you might not be in the mood, but if you take the initiative, if you do something towards it, it will start happening right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to a canvas and you're gonna decide you want to do a painting and you're like, what am I gonna paint? It can stop you from doing a painting. But if you just go to the canvas and you just look at all your paint and pick a color and smash it onto the canvas
Mm-hmm.
and don't think about what you're gonna paint,
Mm-hmm.
it creates the creativity.
Okay.
It gets it going.
Okay. So right now I'm looking at. This is a painting of yours, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll describe this painting. It is primarily blue, but it's different, definitely different shades of gradations of blue going down the image. It's a very simple looking painting, but it's also a very effective painting. Do you recall how this painting got started?
I think that was exactly just the way I described it.
Mm-hmm. So you just started
I
putting
just
colors
started
down.
putting paint on the canvas
Yep.
and became what it is.
Are there are there specific things or events that in your life that heighten your creativity? Are there certain things that go on in your life that really make you feel that sense of creativity? So in other words, some people may say a walk in the woods. You know, right?
Definitely nature inspires creativity for me. And I think in most people it would in some way. But you can say a major event could spark creativity. Just it could be a negative thing could happen, like one of your kids could do something really bad and then you want to write something.
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, your child is born.
Yep.
And you want to, make a painting of it, or you want to, draw something, or write something, or write some poetry. You get inspired by.
So is there anything specific in your life that you find tends to do that for you, or could just be anything?
Could be anything.
Yeah.
But other creative people definitely. It's like contagious.
Yep.
When you see a creative person, look what happened here.
Right.
I mean, we started playing drums.
Yep.
And it turned into an art gallery, and
Yep.
there's like hundreds of people coming around
Yep.
wanting to be a part of it all the time,
Yep. Well, it's definitely contagious. Are there things? Let's look at the other side of this. Are there things in your life that will sometimes hamper your creativity? Like, do you find that you may go a week and you just don't feel creative at all because of something that's going on in your life?
Definitely. When you get in a place where you're doing things you really don't want to do,
Yep.
and that could be the type of job you're in, the type of situation you got yourself into where you're not being yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that definitely can put a damper on your creativity.
I think right there, not being yourself. You
Yeah.
feel like you're not being yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. How do you find balance? I mean, everybody has those, everybody definitely has those things in their life where they have to do certain things they have to do, they don't want to do. jobs, what have you. How do you find that balance to keep maintain that sense of creativity?
I think you have to go to yourself and meditate. You have to get down deep into who you are and what you are, and be there. So I guess the balance is that you need to find that place
Mm-hmm.
and try to be in that place
Yep.
as much as possible. If you're doing something you don't want to be doing,
Right.
you have your heart, you have yourself
Mm-hmm.
to go to
Mm-hmm.
and say, I can be creative in my mind, I can be creative in my head, I can be creative in my heart,
Yep.
and be sweeping the floor.
Right.
I could be thinking of something I want to be doing.
Yep.
And that's the creative process starts with a thought.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely starts with a thought, and,
Mhm.
and those thoughts can be going on while you're in work or wherever you are. So you can find that balance by being there a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Try to be there all the time.
Yep. Okay. Where do you get your inspiration to create? What inspires you?
That one thought starts the whole thing, but what it could be, I see something that someone else did that's
Mhm.
creative,
Mm-hmm.
and it just gets it going.
Yeah.
It could be you hear some music
Right.
that you like, wow, I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, and you decide, oh, I want to do something similar to that,
Mhm.
or you're walking down the street and someone built a kind of cool looking fence,
Yep.
and there it is. Wow, look at that! I can make a house that looks like that
Yeah.
now, or it could be anything. Nature is like the most unbelievable thing when you think about it.
Yeah.
Just being out in nature is definitely
Mm-hmm.
a huge part of it.
I'm just curious, have your paintings ever been inspired by music? You talk about how you can be inspired by music. I'm just wondering if something that seems totally different
Yeah,
from,
Definitely.
you know,
Yeah, I often I could be doing a painting and then I think of words that go with it
yep,
because I feel as though I want to describe what I'm feeling
right.
or what's coming out of me that's going on that painting.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing as if you're playing an instrumental piece, it's coming from you, inside you.
Mm-hmm.
It's growing and coming right out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And your emotions are going out in that piece. It's the same thing when you paint.
Yep.
But I could be painting and then start thinking of words I want to write,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Okay. Good.
So definitely.
What does inspiration feel like? Can you describe it? I know it's a tough question.
It feels like a fire inside you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I'm inspired, I'm in spirit. It's your spirit. That's what inspiration is, in spirit. And when you're in who you are, what you are,
Mm-hmm.
your core being, you cannot not be creative.
Mm-hmm.
It just when you get to that place of nothing, that's what begins the whole creative process, because you can go nowhere else but
Right.
into creativity.
Yeah.
So
When you feel yourself inspired to create, okay, you're walking down the street and you're walking through the woods and you see something in nature that just absolutely, you're feeling that fire. You're inspired. What's the next step in the creative process? How do you seize that moment?
that's a difficult thing, because I think a lot of times you get that inspiration, but you can't get to it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And to hold on to that until you have the chance to go and do it,
Yep.
you lose it a lot of times. So that's a hard thing. I mean, but if I can have the opportunity, or I will seize the moment and go say, yeah, I got to go do this right now.
Yep. Yep.
I can, because you know that's how I am. I know how I am, and
Yep.
I'm going to lose it if I don't write it down or do something with it. It leaves,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yep.
But there's always something else.
Right, and that goes back to that whole balance
Yeah.
question. Is
Yeah.
how do you balance? Because you're seeing things all around you all the time, and if you're anything like me, you have a million ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually one of my questions, and I'll ask it. It is, well, basically, it's like, do you feel like you have more creative ideas than you have time?
Oh,
And,
definitely.
And how do you deal with that? I mean, it's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. But like I said, it's like a flowing fountain that never
How
ends.
do you see a creative idea through to completion?
Yeah, that's difficult. Like we were saying, it's definitely a difficult thing. And some things can be going on for days, months, years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll go back to it too. I mean, I won't.
Really?
You know, I can go back to a painting I started 2 years ago and go, oh, and I guess it's never ending,
Mm-hmm.
because when I'm in a place 10 years ago where I knew so much about myself, about things I was going through, things I was wanting to do, different things that in the creative process. Then over the 10-year period, I learned a lot more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I grasped a lot more things. I understand more. I have more wisdom. I have more understanding of the whole creative process and everything. I look at that painting I might have done way back then, and now I have new insight on it because it's something I can go back to with all this new information and say, okay, now I can continue on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the completion thing can be going on for a long time.
That's my segue to the next question. How do you know when a creative idea or creative project is complete?
Well, a lot of times I just feel comfortable with it and
Mhm.
walk away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other times I feel like it's enough for now,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to learn more before I can go back and finish.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Okay. So, because like in your job, in the things that you do, it's not like you have a deadline necessarily.
No, I don't. I'm
So
not.
a painting could go on for years.
Like that's why I don't like to do. People have asked me several times, you know, will you paint a painting for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't paint from someone telling me what to do.
Right.
It just comes out.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. What makes a successful creative project? So, how do you know? We all have creative projects, and we're done with them. Sometimes we feel great about them. Sometimes we don't feel so good about them. What are the attributes of a successful creative project for you?
a lot of times I feel like anything you do to be creative at any point in that process
Mm-hmm.
is okay.
Yeah.
It feels okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, I might be halfway through a painting and just feel comfortable with it and walk away, and then 2 years later go back to it.
Right.
Because anything I can do to express my feelings
Yeah.
of what I feel inside
Mm-hmm.
and bring it out and share it with other people
Mm-hmm.
and get other people to feel that feeling of being creative
Mm-hmm.
is an accomplishment to me.
Okay. How does feedback influence your creativity?
It does. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But it depends. I found a lot of times when someone would say something, and then I'll think about it, and I might change something because of what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Because criticism is a good thing
Mm-hmm.
if you don't let it get to you.
Yep.
It helps you go to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good, either negative or positive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all good.
A little bit different take on the same question. How important is it that others buy into your creative idea or projects? So in other words, you know,
Well, that I think I can take it or leave it.
yeah,
If someone doesn't like something, they're actually acting on what I did.
mm-hmm. It's a good way of looking at it.
You know, they're to form an opinion about something you've done is in a way giving you credit for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what you're saying is that somehow you've still hit upon their
Yeah,
emotions
I
in some
mean,
way.
we've got them the process going. Well, I think you should change that and put some red in that instead of
Yeah.
having the blue there.
Yeah.
Well, they're being creative now, right?
Yeah.
So we've got them going.
Okay. Here's a question I actually meant to ask earlier, but in what ways has creativity actually shaped your life? And you know, has it influenced who you are today?
Definitely. I feel as though, as far back as I can remember, if something tragic happened or something in any way, it made me go to that place
Mm-hmm.
to want to be creative. And it definitely helped me get through a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of times, if I'm not feeling good about a lot of things, if I can go to a place to play the guitar or you know, do a painting or do anything that makes, you know, write some words down, it kind of is a connection with your higher self.
Yeah.
It helps you through that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then in turn helps others, because when they see or get a feeling from what you did,
Yep.
it helps them too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a growing, again.
Okay. We've kind of touched upon this already, but do you feel you are contributing something to society, and is that important?
Yeah, I do feel as though I didn't realize it
Mm-hmm.
until we finally had a showing at the gallery, and you know, I didn't know what to expect, because I had all my paintings in my house and like all in piles and everything, and I finally decided I'm going to show them to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm hanging all the paintings and everything, and I'm feeling like, wow, what's this gonna be? What's gonna happen here? You know, what are people gonna think and all this stuff? And then I was amazed at the reaction of everybody, because everybody was like, wow, you know, I like your paintings, or they were saying different things, could be positive, could be negative, but the one thing that happened that was so great to me was everybody said, I want to start painting. I want to go home and play the piano now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to do poetry, and I'm going to go home and do that again.
Yeah.
It was like, to me, that was the most greatest thing that happened. And I realized that how everything can be influenced through, you know, just be the creative process can change everything.
Yep.
Change people, change the way people think, and the way, you know, we care for each other and stuff. You know, we're sharing our emotions through creativity.
Is it important for you to leave something behind for future generations? Is it important to you?
Yeah. I feel like I think most people have that in them. They have the feeling of, what is it all about? What is it all for? What can I do to make a difference? I think that's...
Okay. 2 more questions. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're currently working on?
Right now, getting together with a bass player and a drummer, and I am on the guitar, and we're having some jam sessions, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes, they are. Yeah, and we are definitely working through that creative process. If you could ask, this is the final question, if you could ask one question of other creative people that we didn't already cover today, what would that question be?
I mean, sometimes I wonder how some people do what they do and get it going, get it started, but everybody has a different way of doing it. Everybody's different. Everybody's totally different. There's no 2 people that do it the same way.
Yep.
Just like, you know, everything is different about everybody. The creative process is different in every person.
So if you had, if this room were full of creative people right now, what's the one question you would ask them?
Well, I just love to hear how they tell the story about what they're doing.
Okay.
I love it. I love hearing, I'm doing this or I'm doing that.
Yep.
And so I would just say, what do you do? And they would tell me the story, and I would be happy with that.
Good.